Dante held his daughters for the first time, felt Zuri's arms around his neck, saw Mira's cautious trust, heard Sage ask about his favorite book. For one perfect moment, the crime lord became a father. Then his phone buzzed. A photo. The girls leaving school. One word. Found. His enemies know about them now. And the message that followed gave him 72 hours to make an impossible choice. Return to the Empire and marry Victoria. Or watch everyone he loves disappear. Welcome to Part 2, where love becomes the deadliest weapon of all. The photograph burned into Dante's vision even after he locked his phone. Mira, Sage, and Zuri, walking out of their kindergarten, backpacks bouncing, holding hands, taken yesterday, from across the street, professional angle, clear message, we know where they are, we can reach them anytime. Below the image, one word, found. Then a second message arrived, midnight. Pier 7, come alone, or we come for them. Dante's hands shook as he slipped the phone into his pocket, his face a careful mask even as his world collapsed inward. 20 feet away, Zuri was showing Amara a flower she'd found. Sage was reading the information plaque about the Han River. Mira was watching him with those sharp, assessing eyes that missed nothing. "Daddy, are you okay?" Mira asked, tilting her head. The word daddy nearly broke him. He'd heard it for the first time 30 minutes ago. And now, someone was threatening to make sure he never heard it again. "I'm fine, sweetheart," he lied, crouching down to her level. "Just work stuff. Do you have to go?" The question cut deeper than she could possibly know. "Not right now," he said, forcing a smile. "Right now, I'm exactly where I want to be." But Mira was too smart. She glanced at her mother, then back at him, and something flickered in her expression. Understanding. Or maybe just the beginning of it. Children of dangerous men learned to read lies early, even when they didn't know their father was dangerous yet. An hour later, after Amara had taken the girls home with promises that Dante would visit again soon, he stood alone by the river and made the call he'd been dreading. Marco answered on the first ring. "Tell me you have cameras on Amara's building," Dante said without preamble. "I have cameras on Amara's building. Perimeter security. Monitoring all approaches. Why? What happened?" "Someone photographed the girls yesterday, outside their school. Send me everything from the last 48 hours. Every person who got within 100 feet of them." A pause. "Boss, how bad is this?" "I have a meeting at midnight. Pier 7. They want me alone." "That's a trap." "I know." "Then don't go. They have photos of my daughters, Marco. I don't have a choice." "There's always a choice. Let me send a team." "No. If I show up with backup, they'll disappear. And next time, they won't send a warning. They'll just act." Marco was quiet for a long moment. "What do you need from me?" "Eyes on Amara's building. 24/7. If anyone so much as looks at her or the girls wrong, I want to know immediately. And Marco, arm your people. We're not playing defense anymore." "Understood. I'll have the security footage to you within the hour." Dante hung up and stared out at the river, his mind already running through scenarios. This was Victoria's family. Had to be. The Chens didn't forgive broken engagements, especially ones that made them look weak in front of the other families. And Dante walking away from their daughter, choosing a translator and 3 illegitimate children over their empire, was the ultimate insult. But how did they find out so fast? He'd been careful, discreet. Only Marco knew the details, and Marco was loyal to a fault. Unless... His phone rang. Unknown number. Dante answered but said nothing. "Hello, Dante." Victoria's voice, cold, smooth, satisfied. "I trust you received my message?" His blood turned to ice. "This was you." "Not me personally, but my family, yes. Did you really think you could humiliate us without consequences?" "I didn't humiliate anyone. I ended an arrangement that wasn't working. You abandoned me at a charity gala to chase after some woman and her bastard children." Her voice hardened. "You made me look like a fool. You made my family look weak. And in our world, Dante, weakness is unforgivable. Touch them and I'll burn your entire family to the ground." Victoria laughed, bright and terrible. Such passion. It's almost touching. But you're in no position to make threats. You walked away from your empire, delegated your power, made yourself vulnerable. And now we have leverage. What do you want? What I've always wanted. You, the merger, our families united, souls underground consolidated under one rule. She paused. Come back. Marry me as planned. Run the organization the way you were meant to. And your little family stays safe, untouched, anonymous. And if I refuse, then accidents happen. Buildings catch fire, cars malfunction, people disappear. Her voice dropped to a whisper. Children are so fragile, Dante. It would be such a shame if something happened to them. Rage exploded through his chest, white-hot and barely controlled. You threaten my daughters again, he said, his voice deadly calm. And I will personally ensure that you spend your last moments understanding exactly what kind of monster I can become. There's the man I fell in love with, Victoria purred. Cold, ruthless, willing to do anything to protect what's his. That's the Dante I need, not this soft, sentimental version playing house by the river. I'm not playing. No? Then prove it. Midnight. Pier 7. We'll discuss terms. Come alone. Come armed if it makes you feel better. But come ready to negotiate. Because, Dante, this is the only offer you're getting. Accept it, or watch everything you love burn. She hung up. Dante stood frozen, his phone clenched so hard the screen cracked. This was his nightmare made real. The exact scenario he'd feared his entire life. The people he cared about becoming targets because of who he was. What he'd done. The empire he'd built. His father had been right about one thing. Love was a weapon. And Victoria was wielding it with surgical precision. At 11:45 p.m., Dante stood in the shadows near Pier 7, watching. The warehouse district was abandoned this time of night. Empty shipping containers stacked like metal mountains. The smell of salt water and rust. The distant sound of ships in the harbor. Perfect place for an ambush. He'd come armed, a handgun tucked against his spine, a knife strapped to his ankle. But he had no illusions about how this would go. If Victoria's family wanted him dead, he'd be dead. They weren't here to kill him. They were here to break him. At exactly midnight, a black Mercedes pulled up to the pier. 3 men got out first. Bodyguards, professional, scanning the area with practiced efficiency. Then Victoria emerged, elegant in a black dress despite the late hour, looking like she was attending an opera instead of a negotiation. She saw him immediately. Dante, always so punctual. She walked toward him, her heels clicking on the concrete. I appreciate that about you. He said nothing. Victoria stopped a few feet away, studying him with those calculating eyes. You look terrible. When's the last time you slept? What do you want, Victoria? I already told you. You, the Empire, everything back the way it was supposed to be. That's not happening. No? She pulled out her phone, swiped through something, then turned the screen toward him. More photos. Dozens of them. Amara grocery shopping. The girls at a playground. Mira's kindergarten classroom through a window. Sage reading in their apartment. Someone had been inside. Zuri hugging Amara goodnight. Every moment of their lives, documented. Violated. We've been watching for weeks, Victoria said softly. Ever since you started showing up at that river every morning like a lovesick teenager. We know their routines. Their school. Their favorite restaurants. The park they go to on weekends. We know everything, Dante. Which means we can get to them whenever we want. His jaw clenched. You're making a mistake. Am I? Because from where I'm standing, I hold all the cards. She pocketed her phone. Here's how this works. You come back. We announce our engagement was merely postponed due to business complications. We get married within the month. You resume full control of the organization. And in exchange, your translator and her children live quiet, safe, completely unremarkable lives. You want me to abandon them again. I want you to protect them. This is protection, Dante. The only kind that works in our world. You stay away, they stay safe. You try to play father, they become targets. Not just from my family, but from everyone who wants to hurt you. Every rival, every enemy you've ever made. They'll all see 3 perfect little vulnerabilities. She was right. He hated that she was right. And if I agree, he said slowly, you leave them alone? Completely? You have my word. They'll never even know we were watching. As far as they're concerned, you're just a father who had to leave for work. Tragic, but necessary. They'll grow up safe, educated, protected. Isn't that what you want for them? It was exactly what he wanted, and exactly what would destroy him. I need time, he said. You have 72 hours. Victoria turned to leave, then paused. Oh, and Dante, don't try to move them. Don't try to hide them. We have people everywhere. The moment you put them on a plane, in a car, anything that looks like running, we act. Understood? He understood perfectly. He was trapped. At 2 a.m., Dante sat in his hotel room, staring at the photos on his phone. Mira, Sage, Zuri. 3 perfect little girls who smiled at him like he was their whole world. And he was about to break their hearts to save their lives. His phone buzzed. A text from Amara. The girls can't stop talking about you. Mira says you have kind eyes. Sage wants to show you her drawings. Zuri asked if you're coming to her birthday party next month, I think this is going to work, Dante. I think we can actually do this. He read the message 3 times, each word a knife twisting deeper. Then he typed a response he immediately deleted. Then another. Finally, he just wrote, I need to see you. Tomorrow. Alone. It's important. Her reply came quickly. Is everything okay? No, but it will be. I promise. Another lie. But what else could he say? I'm about to choose your safety over your happiness. I'm about to become the ghost I promised I'd never be again. I'm about to prove that loving me was always going to end in heartbreak. He couldn't say any of that. So he said nothing at all, and spent the rest of the night staring at photos of daughters he was about to lose. Again. Amara knew something was wrong the moment she saw him. They'd agreed to meet at the river, their spot, at 10 a.m. But Dante was already there when she arrived at 9:45, standing with his back to the path, shoulders tense, the set of his body all wrong. This wasn't the man who'd shown up every day for 2 weeks. This was the crime lord. Dante? She called softly. He turned, and the look in his eyes confirmed her worst fears. We need to talk, he said. Those 4 words, the ones that always preceded disaster. Amara sat on the bench, her hands clasped tight in her lap. What happened? He didn't sit, just stood there, looking out at the river like he couldn't bear to face her. I have to go back, he said finally. The words hung between them, heavy and final. Back where? To my organization, to my life, to everything I was trying to walk away from. Amara's chest tightened. Why? Because it's the only way to keep you safe. Safe from what? He finally looked at her, and the pain in his eyes was devastating. From me. From my world. From the people who want to hurt me by hurting the people I love. Dante, they know about you, about the girls. They've been watching you for weeks. They have photos, Amara. Of Mira and Sage and Zuri. Of your apartment. Of their school. They know everything. The blood drained from her face. Who? Victoria's family, the Chens. I broke our engagement, and they see that as a declaration of war. So they found my weakness. His voice cracked. They found you. Amara stood, her hands shaking. What did they say? That if I don't come back, if I don't marry Victoria and resume control of the organization, they'll come after you, after the girls. They didn't make idle threats, Amara. These are people who burn buildings with families inside them, who make children disappear, who... Stop. She held up a hand, her voice barely controlled. Just stop. Silence. Then, so that's it? 2 weeks of showing up, of proving you could choose differently, and at the first sign of trouble you run? I'm not running. I'm protecting you. By abandoning us. Again? Her voice rose. How is this different from 6 years ago, Dante? How is this anything other than you choosing your empire over us? Because 6 years ago, I didn't know what I was losing. Now I do. And I'm losing it anyway because it's the only way to keep you alive. You don't get to make that choice for me. Yes, I do, because you don't understand what these people are capable of. You don't know what it's like to watch someone you love die because they were close to you, because they made you vulnerable. I've seen it, Amara. I've lived it. And I will not, I cannot, watch it happen to you or to them. Tears streamed down her face. So what? You just disappear? Walk away like the last 2 weeks meant nothing? They meant everything. His voice broke. That's why I have to do this. The girls will be devastated. I know. They'll think they did something wrong, that they weren't enough to make you stay. I know. They'll carry that for the rest of their lives, Dante, that their father chose to leave. Again. I know. The words exploded out of him, raw and anguished. You think I don't know what this will do to them? You think I'm not dying inside at the thought of Zuri asking why Daddy doesn't come anymore? Of Sage thinking she said something wrong? Of Mira learning that love isn't enough? He turned away, his hands in fists at his sides. But their pain will heal, he continued, quieter now. Eventually, with time and therapy and you being the incredible mother you are. But if they die because of me, that doesn't heal. That doesn't get better. That's forever. Amara sank back onto the bench, her whole body shaking. There has to be another way, she whispered. There isn't. Believe me, I've thought about it. I could take you away, hide you somewhere remote, change your names, give you new lives. But they'd find you. These people have resources I can't match when I'm not running the organization. Or I could fight. Go to war with the Chens, try to eliminate the threat. But that takes time, and people die in wars. Innocent people. Children. So you're giving up. I'm making an impossible choice. And I'm choosing your life over my happiness, over my chance to be their father, over everything I wanted. He finally looked at her, his eyes red. I'm choosing you, Amara. Just not the way either of us wanted. She stared at him for a long moment, searching for the lie, the crack, the place where his logic failed. But there wasn't one. Because as much as she hated it, as much as it was destroying her, she understood. In Dante's world, love was a death sentence, and he was commuting it the only way he knew how. What do I tell them? She asked, her voice hollow. The truth. That I had to go away for work. That it's not their fault. He swallowed hard. That I love them, more than anything. But sometimes love means letting go. They won't understand. I know, but maybe someday, when they're older, maybe you can explain. Maybe they'll understand that their father wasn't brave enough to stay, but he was brave enough to leave. Amara stood, wiping her eyes with shaking hands. I need you to promise me something, she said. Anything. Don't come back. Not in 6 months. Not in a year. Not when you think the danger has passed. Because I can't do this again, Dante. I can't watch my daughters fall in love with you just to have you disappear. So if you walk away now, stay away. Forever. The words destroyed him. She could see it in the way his face crumpled, the way his breath caught, the way he had to look away to maintain composure. Okay, he whispered. Say it. I promise. I won't come back. Amara nodded once, then turned to leave. Amara, wait. She stopped but didn't turn around. I'm sorry, he said, his voice breaking. For all of it. For leaving the first time. For coming back and making you hope. For being exactly the kind of man your daughters deserved better than. I'm sorry. Me too, she whispered. And then she walked away. For the last time. Dante stood alone by the river, watching her disappear into the morning crowd, feeling like his chest had been cracked open and everything vital scooped out. This was the right choice. The only choice. The choice that was going to haunt him for the rest of his life. That night, Dante called Victoria. I accept your terms, he said without preamble. Wise decision. I'll have the lawyers draw up the contracts. I have conditions. A pause. You're hardly in a position to negotiate. Non-negotiable conditions. Or I disappear, and you can try to find me while I dismantle your family's empire from the shadows." Victoria laughed, but there was respect in it. "Fine, what do you want?" "Amara Baptiste and her children are completely off limits. Forever. No surveillance, no threats, no contact of any kind. They live their lives in peace, unaware we ever existed. You want me? Fine. But they're ghosts. Understood?" "Understood. What else?" "Marco stays as my underboss. I trust him, and I won't work with anyone else in that position." "Done. Anything else?" Dante took a breath. "If anything happens to them, if they're hurt, threatened, or even inconvenienced in a way that traces back to your family, the engagement is off, and I'll burn everything we've built to the ground. I'll salt the earth where your empire stood. That's not a threat, Victoria. That's a promise." Silence. Then, "You really love them?" "Yes. That's going to make this very difficult for you." "I know." "Good. Suffering builds character." Her voice hardened. "We'll announce the engagement next week. Wedding in 3 weeks. And Dante? Welcome back to the Empire. Try not to look so miserable at the ceremony." She hung up. Dante sat in the dark, staring at his phone, at the photos of Mira and Sage and Zuri that he'd never delete. His daughters. Who would grow up thinking their father didn't love them enough to stay? It was the cruelest lie he'd ever told, and the most loving thing he'd ever done. 3 years passed like a prison sentence. Dante married Victoria in a ceremony that made the society pages and consolidated the underground. He ran the organization with ruthless efficiency, expanding territory, eliminating rivals, building an empire that would have made his father proud. He smiled for cameras, attended galas, played the part of the devoted husband and powerful crime lord. And every night, alone in his study, he stared at photos of 3 little girls and wondered who they were becoming. Marco provided updates. Not often. Once every few months, carefully encrypted, always vague enough to maintain deniability. The family relocated to Busan. New school. Everyone's healthy. Eldest is in advanced classes. Artistic one won a local competition. Youngest made the soccer team. They're okay, boss. They're thriving. But thriving without him. Growing up without knowing their father had sacrificed everything to keep them safe. It was the right choice. He told himself that every day. Some days, he even believed it. Then, on a rainy Tuesday in October, everything changed. Dante was in his office reviewing territory reports when his phone rang. Unknown number. He almost didn't answer. Unknown numbers were usually trouble. But something made him pick up. "Hello?" Heavy breathing. Then a young voice shaking with fear. "Daddy?" His heart stopped. He knew that voice. Older now, but unmistakable. "Mira? Daddy, I'm scared. I'm hiding, but I don't know for how long, and—" "Mira, slow down. Where are you? Where's your mother?" "I don't know. We were at the market, and then men came, and there was yelling, and Mom told me to run, so I ran. But I don't know where Sage and Zuri are, and—" Her voice cracked into a sob. Dante was already moving, grabbing his coat, his gun, his keys. "Mira, listen to me. I need you to tell me exactly where you are. Can you do that?" I'm in a building. It's dark. There are boxes. Big metal things that say, Hanjin Shipping. A warehouse. Busan Port District. Okay. Good girl. Stay hidden. Stay quiet. I'm coming to get you. Daddy, I'm sorry. I know I'm not supposed to call, but I found your number in Mom's phone and you did exactly right. I'm so proud of you. Now listen, I need you to turn off this phone after we hang up. Just press the power button and hold it until it turns off. Can you do that? Yes. Good. I'm coming, baby girl. I promise. I'm coming. He hung up and immediately called Marco. Emergency. Amara and the girls were taken. Busan Port District. Mira's hiding in a Hanjin shipping warehouse. I need every available man on a plane in the next 10 minutes. Boss! Now, Marco! He was already running for the car when Victoria appeared in the hallway. Where are you going? She asked. Emergency. I'll be back. What kind of emergency? He stopped, turned, and the look on his face must have said everything because Victoria went pale. "Dante, no. You promised. Someone took my daughters. But how did anyone even know? I don't know, and I don't care. Get out of my way. If you go after them, if you expose that connection, every enemy we have will... Get out of my way." Victoria had never heard that tone from him. The voice of the man who'd built an empire on bodies. The monster beneath the suit. She stepped aside. Dante was in the car and speeding toward the airport before she could say another word. Behind him, his phone buzzed with messages he didn't read. Warnings, threats, consequences. None of it mattered. Someone had taken his daughters, and they were about to learn why the underground feared Dante Kwan's name. The flight to Busan took 40 minutes. It felt like 40 years. Marco met him at the airport with a tactical team. 10 men, all armed, all loyal. "We've been monitoring police channels," Marco said, as they loaded into black SUVs. Multiple reports of gunfire at the Namhang market. 3 women and 2 children taken. No demands yet, but 2 children? Dante's blood ran cold. There should be 3. Witnesses said one of the girls ran, escaped during the chaos. Mira. His brave, fierce, protective Mira. But where were Sage and Zuri? They reached the port district in 15 minutes, speeding through red lights, Marco coordinating with their local contacts. "The Hanjin warehouse is abandoned," Marco said. "Scheduled for demolition. If she's hiding there..." "She is. Pull up. Everyone out. Spread out and search, but stay on comms. If you find her, you report immediately. Nobody fires a weapon unless I give the order. Understood?" 10 voices confirmed. They moved into the warehouse like a military operation, spreading through the darkness, using night vision and thermal scanners. Dante went alone to the center of the building, looking up at the stacked containers, and spoke quietly. "Mira, it's Daddy. It's safe now. You can come out." Silence. Then, from somewhere above, a small voice. "How do I know it's really you?" "Smart girl. Trust no one. Because 3 years ago, I held you by a river. You asked me where I'd been. I said far away working. You said I had kind eyes. And I've thought about that every single day since." A pause. Then a small figure emerged from between 2 containers on the 2nd level, climbing down the metal ladder with shaking hands. She was 8 now. Taller. Hair longer. But those eyes, his eyes, were exactly the same. When she reached the ground, she ran. Not away. To him. Straight into his arms, sobbing like her heart was breaking. "Daddy, they took them. They took Sage and Zuri, and Mom and I couldn't stop them, and I'm sorry." "Shh. It's okay. It's okay, baby. You did so good. You were so brave." He held her tight, feeling her tiny body shake with fear and relief. "I've got you now. I've got you. But what about... I'm going to get them back, I promise. But first, I need you to tell me everything you remember. Can you do that?" Mira pulled back, wiping her eyes, and nodded. Even terrified, even 8 years old, she was fierce. His daughter. And someone had just made the worst mistake of their life by taking her sisters. To be continued. Mira sat in the back of the SUV, wrapped in Marco's jacket, her small hands clutching a bottle of water she hadn't touched. Dante knelt in front of her, his voice gentle despite the rage burning through his veins. "Tell me what you remember, sweetheart. Take your time." Mira's eyes were red but focused. "We were at the market. Mom was buying vegetables. Sage wanted a book from the stall next door. Zuri was holding my hand." Her voice wavered. "Then these men came. Big men. They grabbed Mom first. She screamed at us to run." "How many men?" 5, maybe 6. They had black clothes and tattoos." She touched her neck. "Here. Like snakes." Dante's jaw clenched. The Serpent Clan. Chinese-Korean syndicate operating out of Busan's port district. Rivals of the Kwan family for decades. They'd found his weakness. And they'd taken it. What happened next? Sage froze. She does that when she's scared. She just stops moving. One of the men grabbed her. Zuri tried to fight him. Tears spilled down Mira's cheeks. She kicked him and bit his hand. She's so little, but she's so brave, and she's okay, Dante said firmly, though he had no way of knowing. They both are, and we're going to bring them home. How do you know? Because if they're not, I'll burn this city to ash. Because I'm their father, and nobody takes my family. Marco appeared at the SUV door. Boss, we got a hit. Security footage from the market. Black van, no plates, heading east toward the industrial district. I've got our people tracking it now. Dante stood. Get Mira somewhere safe. Secure location. Guards outside. No one gets in. I want to help, Mira said quickly. You already did. You survived. You called me. That's everything. He crouched down again, taking her small hands in his. But I need you to stay safe now. Can you do that for me? Mira looked at him with those fierce eyes. Promise you'll bring them back. I promise. Promise you won't leave again after? The question hit him like a bullet. Mira, you left before. Mom said you had to. But you left. And now you're back because we need you. But what happens after? Do you just leave again? Dante's throat tightened. We'll talk about that after everyone's safe. Okay? It wasn't a promise, but it was all he could give. 20 minutes later, Dante stood in an abandoned factory, surrounded by 10 of his best men, staring at a map of Busan's industrial district. The Serpent clan has 3 main facilities in this area, Marco said, pointing. Warehouse here, processing plant here, and their headquarters, an old fish factory on the waterfront. Which one would they use for hostages? Headquarters, more secure, better defenses. They'd want their leadership close. Dante studied the map. The fish factory was a fortress. Multiple entry points, all monitored. High ground, clear sight lines. A direct assault would be suicide. Good thing he wasn't planning to be direct. I need blueprints. Guard rotations. Everything you can get in the next 2 hours. Boss, even with intel, this is risky. We're looking at maybe 30 armed men, fortified position. I don't care if there's 100. They have my daughters. I understand, but... Do you? Dante turned, his eyes cold. Do you have children, Marco? No? Then you don't understand. Get me the intel. We move at dawn. Marco hesitated. Victoria's been calling. She knows where you are. She's threatening to... I don't care what she threatens. This is happening. She says if you start a war with the Serpent clan, the other families will... Let them come. His voice echoed through the empty factory. Every single one of them. Because right now, the only thing standing between those men and a bloodbath is the hope that my family is still alive. If they're not, he smiled, cold and terrible, then there's nothing left to lose. Marco had served Dante for 8 years. He'd never seen this look before. The monster was awake, and God help anyone in its path. Dawn broke over Busan in shades of gray and red. Fitting, Dante thought. Red for what was coming. They'd spent the night gathering intelligence. Blueprints acquired through bribed city officials. Guard schedules observed through long-range surveillance. Thermal imaging showing heat signatures inside the fish factory. 7 guards outside. Unknown number inside. And somewhere in that building, Amara, Sage, and Zuri. We go in 2 teams, Dante said, his voice calm despite the adrenaline burning through his system. Marco, you take 5 men through the south entrance. Distraction, loud. Make them think that's the main assault. And you? I'm taking the north side. Through the drainage system. 3 men. Quiet insertion. We locate the hostages while they're focused on you. That's suicide if they spot you. Then don't let them spot me. Dante checked his weapon. Loaded. Safety off. We go in 15 minutes. Everyone wears comms. First team to locate the hostages' signals. No one fires unless fired upon. These men might be criminals, but my daughters are in that building. Every bullet is a risk. One of his men spoke up. Boss, what if? What if they're already... They're not. Dante's voice was steel. They're alive. And we're bringing them home. Any other questions? Silence. Good. Check your gear. Move out in 10. The drainage tunnel smelled like death and salt water. Dante moved through it in complete darkness, night vision turning the world green, his breathing controlled despite his racing heart. Behind him, 3 men. Hand-picked. Silent. Deadly. The tunnel opened into the factory's basement, an old processing floor unused for years. Rust and decay everywhere. Perfect cover. Dante's calm crackled. Marco's voice, barely a whisper. In position. South entrance. Waiting for your signal. Stand by. Dante moved through the basement like a ghost, clearing corners, checking shadows. Empty. Abandoned. Then he heard it. A voice. Young. Crying. I want mommy. Zuri. His baby girl. Dante's heart nearly exploded out of his chest. He followed the sound up a metal staircase, each step carefully placed to avoid noise. The crying got louder. Closer. 3rd floor. Old storage room. Door slightly ajar. He peered through the crack. 4 guards. Guns visible. And in the corner, Amara. Hands bound. Face bruised but defiant. Sage pressed against her side, silent tears streaming. Zuri in her lap, crying softly. No Mira. Because Mira escaped. Because his brave, fierce daughter ran when her mother told her to. Relief and rage warred in his chest. One of the guards laughed. Boss says we keep them alive until the exchange. After that. He made a throat-cutting gesture. Exchange. They wanted something. Probably Dante himself. Too bad. They weren't getting the chance to ask. He signaled his men. Silent approach. 3 targets. Simultaneous takedown. They moved like shadows. 3 suppressed shots. 3 bodies dropping. The 4th guard spun, reaching for his weapon. Dante was already there, knife to the throat. Quick, efficient, silent. The guard dropped. Amara's eyes went wide. Dante? Shh. He moved to her, cutting her bonds with quick, practiced movements. Are you hurt? Bruises. Nothing serious. The girls, I've got them. He turned to Sage and Zuri, both staring at him with shock and recognition and fear. Hey, angels. Remember me? Zuri's lip trembled. Daddy? Yeah, baby. It's Daddy. And we're going home. Then the alarm went off. Loud, piercing, echoing through the entire building. One of the guards must have had a panic button. Marco! Dante barked into his comm. We're compromised. North side, 3rd floor. I have the hostages. I need that distraction now. On it. Gunfire erupted from the south side. Explosions. Shouting. Marco's team engaging. Dante scooped Zuri into his arms, grabbed Sage's hand. Amara, stay close. We move fast. Don't stop for anything. They ran. Down the hallway. Guards appearing from side rooms. Dante's men engaging, providing cover. Bullets whizzing past, Sage screaming. Zuri clinging to his neck. Daddy, I'm scared. I know, baby. I've got you. I've got you. They hit the stairwell, footsteps thundering above and below. Trapped. Dante made a split-second decision. Window, now. We're 3 floors up, Amara protested. Fire escape. Trust me. He kicked out the window, glass shattering. Sure enough, rusted fire escape clinging to the building's exterior. Go.